In all my years of practice, I've seen and co-managed hundreds of cases of people that have been diagnosed or had some form of TMJ. Now, Stacy came in to see us shortly after she was referred to us by her dentist. Now, she was exhibiting all the classic signs of TMJ. She was having pain when opening and closing her jaw. She had an altered gait where her jaw was translating off to the one side. She had a malocclusion, meaning one side of her teeth weren't touching on one side of her mouth. She was also dealing with not just the pain, it was bothering her at night, it was causing her pain. She would grind her teeth, just lots of different issues. She'd seen lots of different practitioners. You know, she'd been to massage therapists, she'd been to acupuncture, she'd been to physical therapists, she'd gone to craniosacral people, she'd seen multiple chiropractors as well as other dentists, all, you know, dealing with neck problems as well as the jaw problems that she was dealing with. And it wasn't until she'd seen this most recent dentist that really recognized both he and her staff that was familiar with what was going on, but also kind of had a better understanding of the neck as well as the impact of how this jaw can impact other areas of the body, that she, you know, was able to finally get the help of coming in to see us. Again, you know, as she kind of went through life, she was just kind of really struggling. Now, all this kind of started with her back about 30 years ago when she was a youngster and she'd been kicked in the side of the face by a horse. Now, she grew up in a farm and, you know, in a small rural area, and it was, you know, it was her dad that actually set her jaw. And she remembers that after that, she never really ever had any other further treatments. And, you know, it would constantly bother her, but, you know, they just didn't have a whole lot of resources and things that they could go and do to actually take care of this. And, you know, now we are, you know, fast forward 30 years later, and she's dealing with these issues. Now, again, TMJD or TMD is what stands for temporal mandibular joint dysfunction, and it's commonly known as just TMJ in the community at large. Most people just refer as TMJ, the joint itself, as the problem. But as professionals, that's what we call that. And, you know, with that, the jaw is a very unique joint. It's very unique in the fact that it has multiple motions and multiple motions that it can actually do. So first, primarily, it's a hinge joint. It allows our jaw to open and close, meaning open, wide, and shut. The other thing it can do is it can glide forward, so it moves in a forward motion. It can also translate left and right. Now with TMJ, a lot of times, again, we see common signs and symptoms of the popping, clicking, grinding. The jaw may not open properly. It may lock open. It may lock shut. There may be lots of noise and crepitus. There's lots of different things that can be exhibited with any form of TMJD. You know, some of the other things that can be as a result of that is associated neck and headaches. So with these neck and headaches, and why these two go hand in hand is the relationship of where the TMJ is. Now the TMJ, again, we have these hinge joints, or what we call condyles, where the joint attaches on the side of the skull. And it actually shares much of its same muscular attachments as what we see in the neck. So right here's the TMJ, and right as here is the neck muscles. So a lot of these muscles right through here actually share some of the same attachments. So if we have tension in the neck, it can translate to the jaw, and vice versa. If we're having dysfunction with the jaw, meaning it's not opening or closing properly, that tension can also convey back down to the neck. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things, what came first? And sometimes that takes a detective or a good doctor that can really understand what's going on to really understand the situation. Additionally, what we find with the TMJ is that deep at the core of our skull, right inside here, we have our cranial bones that actually articulate or move specifically with the neck bones in these top three vertebrae right through here. So it's really unique to have a good understanding of all those areas in the anatomy. Now when Stacy came in, The first thing that we did was we had a consultation. We did a very thorough history. We delved in deep and did a thorough examination of her jaw, all the movements, and assessing what it was doing. We looked at her posturally, not just her jaw, but also her whole body, head, neck, shoulders, how those were. We took very specific x-rays that enables us to 3D model of the head and neck, looking at what's going on from all three angles. And that's what's really important. From there, we went in and we started correcting and we started working on the jaw and actually making some specific adjustments on the jaw. Now, first those were a little intense because, again, she had 30 years of this jaw being in a malpositioned state. And, we're trying to break through some of those adhesions and some of the muscles that we're really not wanting to let go. And it took time, and it was definitely not, I'm going to say, comfortable. But we worked through it, and she was brave and all of that stuff, and it was, and it turned out. We also, that same day, we started working on her neck and doing those adjustments. Now, again, we adjust the neck at the same time because that's what's going to actually help stabilize both the neck and the jaw as we start to allow the whole nervous system and allowing all that soft tissue to begin to come into a more, what we'd say, a state of normalcy or homeostasis. So again, as we continued that, she started to see better improvements on her daily life. And again, she continued coming in here. And we worked with her for a good solid 4 to 6 months. And she continued with her care. And each time, each assessment, we were seeing more and more improvements. And again, we got to the point where she was hardly having any neck discomfort at all. And again, the headaches just really started to go away, which was great to see all those symptoms. She continued to see another body worker. She was utilizing a roller at the time that was also addressing some of her underlying soft tissue issues as well to kind of help support the case. So, hey, I want to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Sweeney, and I've been practicing here in Austin for over 20 years. And I do this little known technique called the NUCCA method, N-U-C-C-A. And what's unique about the NUCCA method is that there's only about 300 people in the country that do what I do. And it's a highly specialized form of chiropractic where we do not do any form of traditional manipulation. So there's no twisting, popping, or cracking of the neck or the back. And what we do and how we do it is we take these very specific x-rays of the spine, of the head and the neck to understand the relationship of what is going on in there. And it's with that knowledge that then it enables us to go in there and be very gentle with the adjustments and the corrections that we do to the spine as well as to other joints in the body to actually facilitate getting the results that the clients want, that we want, to help people improve their health. We've been doing this, as I said, for over 20 years, and the benefits are amazing of what we see for our clients. So why TMJ and TMJD is important to me. My story is that in my late teens and early 20s I started to develop signs of this, and I didn't even know, and my parents didn't know, and I didn't really even, if I ever recall even consulting with a doctor or a dentist about it. But what would happen for me is if I was really tired, and it didn't happen often, but usually a couple times a month, maybe 3 to 4 times a month, if I was tired and I would yawn really wide in the middle of a conversation or randomly throughout the day, my jaw would lock open. And it was really stressful. It was stressful for me. It was stressful for people around me because a lot of times, sometimes I'd be in the middle of a conversation with people. And the next thing I know, my jaw's locked open and I couldn't talk. I would be mumbling. I'd be making weird noises. My wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, thought I was like maybe having a stroke. She didn't know what was going on. And a lot of times I actually felt like I couldn't breathe. And these moments would sometimes last anywhere from 5 to 20 seconds. And the only way I could actually fix it or make it go away was I would literally have to hit the side of my cheeks or on my jaw myself with both heels of my hands very quickly, sometimes repetitively, to actually reset my jaw back in. And then I'd kind of take a big sigh of relief and go, okay, that's over. And then it would continue and that would happen again, several weeks later or a month later or whenever it was. But it was always very upsetting for me. Now, this happened all through my late teens and into my late 20s. And until I actually went to chiropractic school and, started to discover, consistent chiropractic care, and actually found upper cervical chiropractic care for myself. And it wasn't until about 3 to 4 months after having been under NUCA chiropractic care that I started to go, hey, I'm not having that issue anymore. And when I yawn, my jaw isn't popping and clicking, nor is it ever locking open. And I was like, wow, this is really profound. And it's been super helpful that, I'm so grateful that that is not happening for me. And, if I were to actually think right now, like when the last time that occurred, it'd be hard for me to say, but I'm going to say every bit of probably somewhere between 10 to 15 years. And I'm eternally grateful that that's no longer happening. So if this sounds like you, and if you're dealing with any of these signs or symptoms of TMJ, TMJD, or you've been to other practitioners, here are a couple tips that I want you to try. These are some things that you can first try at home, okay? First, what I want you to do is I want you to do some simple ranges of motion with your neck. Now, when I talk about simple ranges of motion, we're just going to turn our head left and right. We're going to look up and down, and we're going to bring our right ear to your right shoulder, left ear to your left. We're not going to roll our head like it's a ball and socket, because our head is not a ball and socket joint. Next, I want you to use some heat and ice in that order. So we're going to put first heat and ice. We can do it on our jaw as well as on the neck. A lot of times, again, like I said, they share a lot of the same similar attachments. So we've kind of got to work at this from a neck issue, but also a jaw issue. And we got to really understand what is at hand here. Next, we're going to do an inverted pillow, where we take our pillow, rather than lying it flat, we're going to stand it up on an edge, and it can create almost like a horseshoe or cradling effect for our neck, lying on our back, and doing that for anywhere from, I'm going to say 3 to 10 minutes, when you first lay down, is doing that. It'll actually help support the neck and help keep it in a good position. We're also going to take our thumbs like a little fist like this, and just gently work on both sides of our jaw like this. Again, what this does is work on these masseter muscles, the boo-boo muscles that are right through here, and sometimes you can feel a little bit of tension, and that'll actually maybe sometimes help relieve some of that. Now, again, as I always say, there's limits with matter, and if you've tried some of these things, or you're willing to go to the next step and you're really looking for some better answers, or somebody that can help, maybe you've tried these things or you've tried multiple practitioners, we're here to help. We're always open for a consultation. You're available to come in. We'd love to sit down and talk with you for a free consultation, assess you, have a better understanding of what's going on, and again, share our results and the results that we've gotten for, again, hundreds of clients that we've helped with TMJD, and see if we can help improve your life. So if you're ready to make that step, you can always give us a call. Check down below. Remember, you got to call us. We can't call you. So until then, farewell, be well, and be grateful.